All in the Family didn't just make America laugh. It made America argue, think, and look at itself in the mirror. Around one living room chair came comedy, conflict, uncomfortable truths, and characters millions never forgot. But as the decades passed, many of the beloved faces behind that groundbreaking show reached their final curtain. Now, let's remember the All in the Family actors who sadly passed away, and the legacies they left behind. Sherman Hemsley, born on February 1, 1938, brought explosive comic energy to All in the Family at 35 years old as George Jefferson, Archie Bunker's sharp-tongued neighbor. Loud, proud, and never afraid to talk back, George was the perfect match for Archie's prejudice. He was funny because he was fearless, but he also carried the image of a black businessman determined to move upward in America. Before television made him famous, Sherman worked in theater and drew Norman Lear's attention through Pearly. George became so popular that he moved into the hit spin-off The Jeffersons, turning Movin' On Up into TV history. Sherman Hemsley passed away on July 24, 2012, at the age of 74. His death was linked to complications from lung cancer, a quiet ending for a man whose screen presence was anything but quiet. George Jefferson still works because Sherman gave him pride, rhythm, anger, and joy. He could walk into Archie's living room and instantly change the whole temperature of the show. Isabel Sanford, born on August 29, 1917, brought calm strength to All in the Family at 53 years old as Louise Jefferson, George's wife and the woman fans later knew as Wheezy. Warm, patient, and quietly sharp, Louise balanced George's explosive temper with grace. She could love him, challenge him, and cut through his ego with one look, making their marriage feel funny and real. Isabel's success came after years of stage work and supporting roles. Her performance on The Jeffersons later made history when she became the first black actress to win the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. Isabel Sanford passed away on July 9, 2004, at the age of 86. Her death was described as natural causes, only months after she received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Louise Jefferson remains beloved because Isabel played her with dignity instead of noise. In a comedy full of shouting, she gave the Jefferson family its warmth, balance, and heart. Bea Arthur, born on May 13, 1922, made a powerful entrance at 49 years old as Maude Findlay, Edith Bunker's outspoken cousin, and one of the few people who could stand toe-to-toe with Archie. Sharp, liberal, fearless, and impossible to intimidate, Maude was built to challenge everything Archie believed. Their arguments were funny, but they also turned the living room into a battlefield of changing American values. Long before Maude became a television icon, Bea had built a strong career on stage and won a Tony Award for Mame. Her success on All in the Family led to the spin-off Maude, and later, she became beloved again as Dorothy on The Golden Girls. Bea Arthur passed away on April 25, 2009, at the age of 86 after battling cancer. Her death marked the loss of one of television's strongest comic voices. Maude remains unforgettable because Bea played her with intelligence, bite, and complete control. She did not just deliver jokes, she challenged the room, the audience, and the era she was speaking to. Mike Evans, born on November 3, 1949, stepped into television history at 21 years old as Lionel Jefferson, the smart young neighbor who often handled Archie Bunker with a quiet smile. Calm, clever, and gently sarcastic, Lionel knew exactly how to expose Archie's ignorance without shouting. His humor came from control, letting Archie talk himself into embarrassment, while Lionel stayed one step ahead. Outside the Bunker household, Mike Evans became deeply tied to 1970s television history. He co-created Good Times, one of the first sitcoms centered on a working-class black family, and later returned to the role of Lionel on The Jeffersons. Mike Evans passed away on December 14, 2006, at the age of 57 after battling throat cancer. His death came far too early for someone who had helped shape two important chapters of American sitcom history. Lionel Jefferson still feels special because Mike played him with cool intelligence instead of anger. He gave the show a young voice that could laugh at prejudice while quietly revealing how foolish it really was. Vincent Gardenia, born on January 7, 1920, joined the world around Archie Bunker at 53 years old as Frank Lorenzo, the outspoken neighbor married to Irene. Warm, loud, stubborn, and proudly opinionated, Frank fit naturally into the show's noisy Queens atmosphere. He was not as extreme as Archie, but he brought the same working-class directness that made arguments feel funny, messy, and real. Beyond his sitcom work, Vincent Gardenia was a respected stage and film actor. He earned Academy Award nominations for Bang the Drum Slowly and Moonstruck, and also won a Tony Award, proving his talent reached far beyond supporting television roles. Vincent Gardenia passed away on December 9, 1992, at the age of 72 after a heart attack. He died while working on stage in Philadelphia, a fitting final chapter for a performer deeply connected to live theater. Frank Lorenzo remains memorable because Vincent gave him texture and truth. He made the neighborhood feel fuller, another strong voice in a show where every argument revealed something about America. Carroll O'Connor, born on August 2, 1924, became one of the most controversial and unforgettable figures in television at 46 years old as Archie Bunker, the loud father at the center of the Bunker home. Bigoted, stubborn, funny, and strangely vulnerable, Archie was written to expose prejudice, not celebrate it. Carroll played him with enough humanity to make audiences laugh, argue, and sometimes recognize uncomfortable truths in their own living rooms. Before and after Archie, Carroll built a serious acting career across stage, film, and television. He won multiple Emmy Awards for the role and later found success again as Chief Bill Gillespie in the Heat of the Night. Carroll O'Connor passed away on June 21, 2001, at the age of 76 after a heart attack linked to complications from diabetes. His final years were also shaped by advocacy against drug abuse after the tragic death of his son. Archie Bunker remains powerful because Carroll turned a difficult character into a cultural mirror. He made comedy dangerous, uncomfortable, and unforgettable. Exactly why the show still matters. Alan Melvin, born on February 18, 1923, entered Archie's world at 49 years old as Barney Hefner, one of Archie Bunker's buddies and a regular face at the bar. Blunt, familiar, and proudly ordinary, Barney felt like the kind of neighbor every working-class sitcom street seemed to have. He was not meant to dominate the story, but his friendship with Archie helped make the social circle feel real. Alan Melvin had a long career as one of television's most dependable comic actors. Viewers knew him from The Phil Silvers Show, The Brady Bunch, voice work as Magilla Gorilla, and many guest roles across classic American TV. Alan Melvin passed away on January 17, 2008, at the age of 84. His death followed a battle with cancer, closing the life of a performer whose voice and face had been part of television for decades. Barney Hefner remains a reminder of how strong supporting actors shape a sitcom's world. Alan gave him an easy, old-school humor that made Archie's neighborhood feel louder, friendlier, and more complete. Betty Garrett, born on May 23, 1919, arrived as Irene Lorenzo at 54 years old, playing the sharp, independent neighbor who could challenge Archie without blinking. Smart, practical, and proudly outspoken, Irene was not there to be anyone's quiet wife. She worked as a mechanic, pushed back against sexism, and gave the show a female voice that felt modern for its time. Betty's career stretched from Broadway musicals to Hollywood films and television. She appeared in On the Town, Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and later became familiar to sitcom fans through both All in the Family and Laverne and Shirley. Betty Garrett passed away on February 12, 2011, at the age of 91 after an aortic aneurysm. Her long life carried the history of stage, screen, and television comedy through several generations. Irene Lorenzo still stands out because Betty gave her spark and backbone. She made the neighborhood feel more progressive, more alive, and far less willing to let Archie have the last word. Mel Stewart, born on September 19, 1929, appeared at 42 years old as Henry Jefferson, George Jefferson's brother and one of the early Jefferson family faces. Dry, confident, and sharper than he seemed at first, Henry often worked as a calmer counterweight to Archie's loud opinions. His humor came from timing and quiet confidence, making him a strong presence before George became the bigger household name. Mel Stewart built a long career across television, film, directing, and music. He appeared in Scarecrow and Mrs. King, Tabitha, and many guest roles, while also working behind the camera and supporting Black creative voices in entertainment. Mel Stewart passed away on February 24, 2002, at the age of 72 after battling Alzheimer's disease. His later years were far quieter than the active creative life he had built in Hollywood. Henry Jefferson remains an important part of the show's early history. Mel gave him wit, dignity, and a cool intelligence that helped expand the bunker neighborhood beyond Archie's limited view of the world. Nedra Volz, born on June 18, 1908, appeared at 69 years old as Aunt Iola, one of the older relatives who added another comic voice to the show's family world. Small, sweet, and unexpectedly funny, Aunt Iola had the kind of presence that could make a short appearance feel memorable. Nedra specialized in characters who seemed harmless at first, then stole the scene with timing, innocence, or a perfectly placed line. Outside this role, Nedra became a familiar face in American television through Different Strokes, The Dukes of Hazzard, Alice, and many guest appearances. She found much of her screen success later in life, proving character actors can peak at any age. Nedra Volz passed away on January 20, 2003, at the age of 94 after complications from Alzheimer's disease. Her career left behind a warm trail of small but memorable television moments. Aunt Iola may be a minor role, but Nedra's charm made her part of the show's crowded comic texture. She brought the gentle surprise of an older performer who knew exactly how to land a laugh. Jean Stapleton, born on January 19, 1923, became television royalty at 47 years old as Edith Bunker, Archie's kind-hearted wife and the emotional soul of the Bunker home. Gentle, trusting, and often underestimated, Edith was never as simple as Archie believed. Her high voice and nervous sweetness made people laugh, but her compassion often gave the show its strongest moral clarity. Jean Stapleton's work as Edith earned multiple Emmy Awards and made her one of the most beloved actresses of her generation. She also had a rich stage background and later chose varied roles that showed she was far more than one iconic character. Jean Stapleton passed away on May 31, 2013, at the age of 90 from natural causes. Her death brought tributes from viewers who had loved Edith as if she were part of their own family. Edith Bunker remains unforgettable because Jean played kindness as strength. In a show built around arguments, prejudice, and social change, she gave America a voice of patience, decency, and heart. Sorrel Bouc, born on January 4, 1930, appeared at 44 years old as Joseph Sanders, one of the supporting figures who passed through Archie Bunker's noisy television world. Sharp, polished, and carrying the confidence of a seasoned performer, Joseph Sanders was not one of the show's central faces. Still, roles like his helped fill out the wider social world around the bunkers, where every guest could bring a new argument, opinion, or comic turn. Sorrel Bouc's career reached far beyond this appearance. He was a gifted stage and screen actor, fluent in several languages, and became best known to television audiences as Boss Hogg on The Dukes of Hazzard, a role he played with unforgettable comic greed. Sorrel Bouc passed away on February 11, 1994, at the age of 64 after battling colorectal cancer. His death came after decades of work across theater, film, and television. Joseph Sanders may be a small credit, but Sorrel's larger legacy gives it extra weight. He belonged to the kind of character actors who could turn even a brief role into something colorful and worth remembering. Peggy Rhea, born on March 31, 1921, appeared at 50 years old as Martha Burkhorn, one of the many everyday characters who moved through the world surrounding the Bunker family. Warm, grounded, and naturally believable, Martha fit the show's working-class atmosphere without feeling exaggerated. Peggy had the kind of face and timing that made a character seem like someone viewers might actually know. Across her wider career, Peggy Rhea became one of television's most familiar supporting actresses. She appeared in The Waltons, Step by Step, The Dukes of Hazzard, and later charmed a new generation as Gene Kelly on Grace Under Fire. Peggy Rhea passed away on February 5, 2011, at the age of 89. She died from complications related to heart failure, closing a long career built on warmth, humor, and dependable character work. Martha Burkhorn was not a major role, but Peggy's presence added everyday texture to the series. She represented the steady actors who made classic sitcom neighborhoods feel lived in, familiar, and full of ordinary life. Priscilla Morrill, born on June 4, 1927, appeared at 48 years old as a nurse, adding one of the smaller but believable adult roles inside the show's changing social landscape. Professional, composed, and quietly practical, her nurse role belonged to the kind of brief appearance that helped ground the comedy in real life. In a sitcom full of shouting opinions, even a calm, supporting character could shift the rhythm of a scene. Outside that appearance, Priscilla built a steady career in television and film. Many viewers later remembered her as Edie Hart on The Mary Tyler Moore Show and as Claudia on Newhart, where her warm intelligence made her stand out. Priscilla Morrill passed away on November 9, 1994, at the age of 67 after a kidney infection. Her death came after years of respected work as a dependable character actress. Her nurse role may be brief, but Priscilla Morrill's screen presence gave it quiet credibility. She was part of the generation of performers who made small television moments feel natural instead of disposable. Janice Page, born on September 16, 1922, appeared at 54 years old as Denise, bringing a flash of old Hollywood glamour into Archie Bunker's rough-edged Queens world. Stylish, playful, and naturally theatrical, Denise carried a very different energy from the Bunker household. She was not a regular character, but Janice had the kind of presence that could make a brief appearance feel polished, lively, and full of old-school charm. Janice Page's career stretched across film, Broadway, television, and nightclub performance. She starred in the original Broadway production of The Pajama Game, appeared in classic Hollywood musicals, and remained active well into later life. Janice Page passed away on June 2, 2024, at the age of 101. Her life covered more than a century of entertainment history, from studio-era Hollywood to modern television retrospectives. Denise may be a small part of the series, but Janice gave the role sparkle and confidence. Her appearance reminds fans how many true show business veterans passed through classic sitcom television. Liz Torres, born on September 27, 1947, joined the later years of the series at 29 years old as Teresa Betancourt, the Puerto Rican boarder who rented a room from the Bunkers. Quick, lively, and never afraid to answer Archie back, Teresa brought fresh cultural energy into the house. Her presence pushed the show beyond the original family arguments and opened new conversations about identity, neighborhood change, and everyday prejudice. Liz built a long career as a comedian, singer, and actress. Viewers later knew her from Phyllis, The John Larroquette Show, and especially Gilmore Girls, where she reached another generation as the warm and dramatic Miss Patty. Now 78, Liz Torres lives much more quietly than during her busiest television years. Her legacy remains strongest through the sitcom characters who used humor, timing, and personality to command the room. Teresa mattered because she gave Archie another voice he could not easily dismiss. Liz made her funny, proud, and human, helping the show stay connected to the changing America outside the Bunker's front door. Sally Struthers, born on July 28, 1947, became part of television history at 23 years old as Gloria Bunker Stivic, Archie and Edith's only daughter. Emotional, outspoken, and caught between two generations, Gloria gave the show its young female heartbeat. She loved her parents, challenged Archie's ideas, and tried to build a modern marriage with Michael inside a house full of old arguments. Sally's performance earned her 2 Emmy Awards, and she later carried Gloria into spin-off appearances. Beyond sitcom fame, she worked in theater, voice acting, television, and became widely recognized for humanitarian advocacy. Today, Sally Struthers is 78 and continues to be remembered as one of the last living core faces from the original Bunker family. Her later career has kept her close to stage work, guest roles, and fan nostalgia. Gloria still resonates because Sally played her with raw feeling. She made the character funny, emotional, stubborn, and honest. A daughter trying to love her family while growing beyond their world. Clyde Kusatsu, born on September 13, 1948, appeared at 27 years old as Reverend Chong, one of the supporting characters who helped widen the world around the Bunker family. Calm, respectful, and quietly distinct from the louder voices in Archie's orbit, Reverend Chong brought a different cultural presence into the series. His appearance reflected the show's habit of placing Archie near people and ideas that challenged his narrow view of America. Clyde Kusatsu went on to build one of the most steady careers among Asian American character actors in film and television. His credits include MASH, Magnum, P.I., The Young and the Restless, American Pie, and decades of guest roles across American TV. Now 77, Clyde Kusatsu remains respected as a veteran performer and former national president of SAG-AFTRA Los Angeles Local. His career has lasted far beyond one sitcom appearance, becoming part of a broader story of representation in Hollywood. Reverend Chong may be a small role, but Clyde's presence gave it quiet importance. He helped the series feel connected to a changing country, where Archie's living room was never far from America's larger conversations. Dennis Patrick, born on March 14, 1918, appeared at 59 years old as Gordy Lloyd, one of the older supporting figures who moved through Archie Bunker's world. Polished, seasoned, and carrying the confidence of a classic television actor, Gordy had the kind of presence that made even a short role feel established. He belonged to the show's wider circle of adults, where every visitor could shift the mood of a scene. Dennis Patrick had a long career across stage, film, and television. Many viewers knew him from Dark Shadows, where he played several roles, and from appearances in shows like Dallas, The $6 Million Man, and The Bionic Woman. Dennis Patrick passed away on October 13, 2002, at the age of 84. His death closed a career that stretched across soap operas, dramas, sitcoms, and decades of reliable character work. Gordy Lloyd may not be one of the show's biggest names, but Dennis Patrick gave him old-school credibility. He was part of the deep bench of actors who made classic television feel richer than the main cast alone. Eugene Roche, born on September 22, 1928, appeared at 48 years old as Pinky Peterson, one of Archie Bunker's old friends, and a reminder of the life Archie had before the audience met him. Warm, blunt, and carrying the feeling of a man who had known Archie for years, Pinky gave the show a personal glimpse into Archie's past. His connection to Edith's story made his appearance more emotional than a simple guest role. Beyond the Bunker home, Eugene Roche became one of television's most familiar character actors. He appeared in Webster, Soap, Magnum, P.I., Perfect Strangers, and dozens of commercials, often bringing humor and everyday honesty to his roles. Eugene Roche passed away on July 28, 2004, at the age of 75 after suffering a heart attack. His death ended a long career built on warmth, comic timing, and the kind of face audiences felt they already knew. Pinky Peterson remains meaningful because Eugene made him feel like part of Archie's real history. He added memory, friendship, and emotional weight to a sitcom better known for arguments. Barbara Kaysen, born on November 15, 1928, appeared at 47 years old as Nurse Dorothy, one of the supporting medical characters who passed through Archie Bunker's television world. Professional, direct, and grounded in everyday realism, Nurse Dorothy belonged to the kind of small role that helped the comedy feel connected to real life. In a show full of loud opinions, even a brief nurse character could bring a different rhythm into the room. Barbara Kaysen built a steady career as a character actress in television, film, and theater. She appeared in House of Dark Shadows, Exorcist II, The Heretic, The Bob Newhart Show, It's Gary Shandling's Show, and many other familiar projects. Barbara Kaysen passed away on June 18, 1990, at the age of 61 after a heart attack. Her death ended a career built on sharp timing, reliable presence, and the ability to make supporting roles feel natural. Nurse Dorothy may be a small credit, but Barbara's work represents the quiet strength of classic TV character actors. She helped make sitcom worlds feel populated by real people, not just main stars. Barnard Hughes, born on July 16, 1915, appeared at 56 years old as Father John Majeski, the Catholic priest who entered Archie Bunker's world with calm authority and dry wit. Gentle, patient, and quietly amused by Archie's suspicion, Father Majeski worked because he never needed to shout. His presence let the comedy come from Archie's panic, especially when faith, tradition, and misunderstanding collided in the Bunker household. Beyond this role, Barnard Hughes had a rich career across Broadway, film, and television. He won a Tony Award for Da, earned an Emmy for Lou Grant, and appeared in projects such as The Lost Boys, Tron, and many stage productions. Barnard Hughes passed away on July 11, 2006, at the age of 90 from natural causes. His long career carried the warmth and discipline of a stage actor who could make humor feel deeply human. Father Majeski remains memorable because Hughes gave him calm intelligence. In a sitcom powered by arguments, he brought a softer comic pressure, the kind that made Archie uncomfortable without ever raising his voice. Rob Reiner, born on March 6, 1947, became one of television's defining young voices at 23 years old as Michael "Meathead" Stivic, Gloria's husband and Archie Bunker's favorite target. Idealistic, stubborn, and endlessly ready to argue, Michael gave Archie the perfect generational opponent. Their fights were funny, but they also turned the Bunker living room into a weekly debate about politics, class, marriage, and a changing America. After leaving the role, Rob Reiner built an extraordinary second career as a filmmaker. He directed This Is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, and A Few Good Men, becoming one of Hollywood's most successful actor-turned-directors. Rob Reiner passed away on December 14, 2025, at the age of 78. His death, alongside his wife Mikkel, was reported as a shocking homicide, making his final chapter especially heartbreaking for fans who grew up with his work. Michael Stivic remains unforgettable because Reiner made him more than Archie's punchline. He gave the show youthful frustration, comic timing, and a voice for the America arguing back from the other side of the chair. Danielle Brisebois, born on June 28, 1969, joined the Bunker household at 9 years old as Stephanie Mills, the young girl Archie and Edith took in during the later years of the series. Bright, clever, and sometimes tougher than her age suggested, Stephanie brought new life into the Bunker home. She was not there to replace Gloria, but her presence gave Archie and Edith a second chance at parenting, with all the humor, friction, and tenderness that came with it. Danielle's career did not stay limited to childhood acting. She later appeared in Archie Bunker's Place, earned award recognition for the role, and eventually shifted into music, becoming a singer, songwriter, and producer. She also co-wrote major songs including Unwritten and the Oscar-nominated Lost Stars. Now 57, Danielle Brisebois has lived a very different kind of entertainment life than most former child sitcom stars. Her later success came less from being on camera and more from writing songs that reached millions of listeners. Stephanie Mills remains a touching late chapter in the Bunker family story. Danielle gave her intelligence, vulnerability, and spark, a young voice that helped the show keep changing even near the end. Thank you for watching. We hope this tribute to the beloved cast of All in the Family brought back meaningful memories. Please share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us in the next video.